Okay, get ready because today we are diving headfirst into one of the most intense and honestly one of the most misunderstood stories in the entire book of Genesis, chapter 19. This isn't just the story you think you know. We're going on a complete journey, verse by verse, and we're going to peel back every single layer from a cinematic thriller all the way to a hidden cosmic code that might just reveal the spiritual mechanics of the universe. Okay, let's get into this. And it starts with just two words. They arrived. That's it. It's abrupt, it's unsettling, there's no introduction, no warning, the story doesn't ease you in, it just drops you right at the edge of the abyss. And just like that, the scene is set. You've got two mysterious visitors who look like ordinary men, but they're anything but. You've got the city of Sodom, a place that already has a pretty dark reputation, and you have one man, Lot. And get this, he's sitting right at the city gate, the center of everything. The sun is setting, and with it, the final moments of this entire civilization are literally ticking away. So we're going to start our journey on the first level, which is called the pshat. That's the plain, literal meaning of the text. I want you to experience this not like you're reading an ancient scroll, but like you're watching a movie play out right now in crystal clear high definition. So picture this. Lot sees these two strangers, and he immediately performs a full prostration. We're talking face in the dust. He begs them, "Please, my lords, turn aside to your servant's house, spend the night and wash your feet." And you can just feel his urgency, right? This is not just being polite. This is pure desperation. He knows the danger of these streets after dark, and he knows he has to get them under his roof, under his protection, before the city's darkness can swallow them whole. So inside, he throws this feast for them. And the text gives us this one tiny, specific detail. He bakes matzah, bread without yeast. And this, right here, is our first clue in our little treasure hunt. It might seem totally random, but put a pin in that detail. It's the kind of bread you make when you don't have time to wait, when you have to leave, in a real hurry. And wow, was that hurry justified? Because as soon as they've eaten, the hospitality ends and the horror begins. And this is where we shift to our second level, the remez, which means the hidden hint. Before they can even lie down to sleep, the house is completely besieged. A roar just erupts out of the darkness. And the text is chillingly specific here. It wasn't just a few troublemakers. It was, and I quote, "all the men from every part of the city of Sodom, both young and old." The entire city, every single man is outside Lot's door, all united in one terrifying purpose. This is their demand. And that one word, no, is one of the most terrifying euphemisms in the entire text. Yeah, let's be perfectly clear about this. This isn't about curiosity. This is about power, it's about humiliation, and it's about shattering the sacred laws of hospitality. They want to brutalize these visitors to show that in Sodom, kindness is weakness and absolutely no one is safe. And here is where we cash in that clue from earlier. The matzah. Centuries later, the Israelites are going to bake this exact same unleavened bread as they flee slavery in Egypt. It's the bread of people escaping divine judgment on a wicked land. You see, the text is planting a seed, a secret connection across time. This isn't just one story, it's a pattern, an echo of the future. Lot, in this moment of just absolute panic, goes outside and makes a choice that has been debated for millennia. He offers the mob his own 2 virgin daughters to protect his guests. It's a horrifying offer, but the mob refuses. They want the men. They surge forward to break down the door, but just then, the visitors act. They yank Lot inside, slam the door shut, and strike the entire mob with a blinding light. The visitors' true identity is now crystal clear. They are angels. And the mission begins: escape. But this is where the story gets psychologically fascinating, and it brings us to our third level, the drosh, the emotional and moral investigation. Because we have to ask, who is Lot really? The angels give a direct command. Get your family and run. Don't look back. The world as you know it is about to end. A divine reset button is being pressed, and they're holding the door open for you. And what does Lot do? He hesitates. He actually argues. "No, my lords, please. I can't flee to the mountains. This disaster will overtake me. Look, here's a small town nearby. Let me flee there." He's negotiating with angels during the apocalypse. So this is the central question we have to wrestle with. After everything we've just seen, who is Lot? Is he the one righteous hero in a city of monsters? Or is he a deeply compromised man who just got way too comfortable living on the edge of evil? Okay, let's get into it. Are you kidding me with this guy? He offers his own daughters to a violent mob? That is an absolute moral failure, full stop. Wait, hold on. You're judging him by 21st century standards. In the ancient world, the law of protecting a guest under your roof was the highest law. He was willing to sacrifice his own family to uphold it. That's how sacred it was. And what about when the angels give him a golden ticket out? He lingers, he argues, he was so attached to his life in that corrupt city that he couldn't even bring himself to leave cleanly. That's just being human. He was terrified he was leaving his home, everything he owned. And let's not forget the most important fact. In a city where everyone else was pure evil, he was the only one who showed a stranger kindness. He was the exception, not the rule. The debate rages on, but time has run out. As Lot and his family finally reach the tiny town of Zoar, the judgment begins. I mean, just imagine the scene. The sun is just coming up, this symbol of a new day, but for these cities, it's the last dawn they'll ever see. And then, from a clear sky, fire and sulfur just rain down. The text says God overthrew those cities. It wasn't just destruction, it was a complete inversion, a turning upside down of the very fabric of that place. And in this moment of absolute cosmic upheaval, we have one of the most tragic images in all of literature. Lot's wife, against that direct command, looks back. And you have to wonder, why? Was it longing for her home? Was it a final, fatal attachment to that world? Or maybe, and this is a deep thought, was it pity for the people being destroyed? The text doesn't say. It just gives us the consequence. She becomes a pillar of salt, this permanent monument to the danger of looking back when you are commanded to move forward. Now, the story could end right there, but it doesn't. And the final verses are maybe the most challenging. And to really get them, we have to go to the deepest level of all, the sod. This is the secret, mystical layer. Think of it as the source code of the story. Lot and his two daughters are now living in a cave. They look out and see nothing but smoke rising like smoke from a furnace. From their perspective, the entire world has just ended. They truly believe they are the last people on Earth. And from that desperate, post-apocalyptic point of view, they make a shocking decision. To preserve the human race, they get their father drunk on 2 consecutive nights and lie with him to have children. Now, it's deeply uncomfortable, but you have to understand, they saw it as the only way to ensure life continued. So let's go deeper and ask the mystical question. This whole thing wasn't just about bad behavior. What was the spiritual bug in Sodom's code that was so dangerous it required a complete and total system wipe? So this slide here brilliantly illustrates a secret cosmic pattern from the ancient book of Grace to Abraham. The idea is that the first man, Adam, contained the seeds of all future human failings. So when the dimension of pure loving kindness, or chesed, was corrupted, it had to be reset by the flood. When the dimension of harmony, or tiferet, was corrupted into idolatry, well, that led to the confusion of the Tower of Babel. And that brings us to Sodom. Sodom was the ultimate corruption of Gomorrah, the divine power of judgment, of setting boundaries, of justice.
So here's the absolute core of it. Sodom's sin wasn't just a lack of kindness, it was anti-kindness. They literally created laws to punish people for helping the poor or welcoming strangers. They completely severed all connection to chesed. And in doing so, they took the divine energy of judgment, which is meant to create structure and justice, and they twisted it into a system of refined legalistic cruelty. The city became a spiritual cancer, a bug in the code of creation itself. The fire and sulfur weren't just a punishment, they were a hard reboot, a cosmic deletion of a corrupted file to stop the virus from spreading.
Which brings us from the cosmic all the way back down to the personal. Our final level of this journey is midot, taking these ancient lessons and using them to improve our own inner dimensions, our character traits. So the core spiritual bug of Sodom was the legislated hatred of the stranger, the absolute rejection of the other. So the antidote, the spiritual antivirus, is radical hospitality. The Hebrew term is haknesat orhim, which literally means welcoming guests. So here's our challenge for all of you this week. It's simple. Let's actively practice the exact opposite of Sodom. For kids, this could mean finding someone new at recess who looks a little lonely and just inviting them to play. For adults, it could mean inviting that neighbor you only ever wave to over for a cup of coffee. Let's consciously rebuild the world with the simple, powerful act of kindness that Sodom tried so hard to destroy. Thank you for joining us for this complete journey through the Pardes. We hope these ancient truths help you and your family improve your own dimensions this week. If you enjoyed this full chapter deep dive, please like, subscribe, and share which part of the journey touched your soul in the comments. We'll see you in the next chapter.